Hi, Amy.
Hubby,
Yesterday we watched 90 Day Fiancé UK Season 4, Episode 8. I'm just going to start
please.
before we begin the show. Let me remind you 1, rate, review, follow us wherever you listen to the podcast. 2, watch the podcast if you prefer on YouTube at 90 Day Fiancé. Honestly, shall we dive right in?
You already said we were going to.
Okay, good. Just agreeing. Let's go. Andrew and Arrah. Arrah. Oh my God, I'm still not able to say that. How many years will it take me? How many episodes do I have to watch before I finally figure it out?
At
Just
least,
ignore.
at least 8.
The proposal scene. What did you think?
What a roller coaster.
The proposal was a roller coaster?
Well,
Or the
leading up to it.
Ah.
I was really surprised that he had the balls. I was going to say audacity, but the balls to propose to her in front of her family. I was so elated that she said yes, because we know how I feel about him. I think he's absolutely wonderful, even though I think that he's acting a little impulsively. And
little?
he even said it's moving so fast, but it feels so right. And I say, good for them. I'm so glad that she said yes. Whether or not this sticks, I don't know.
I'm also very happy that she agreed to the marriage. I thought there was a moment when she would say no or say not now, maybe later.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that he wasn't scared of her saying no after all. And she says she's never going to regret saying yes, which was a beautiful sentiment. So loving. You what? No, not happy about that. What?
She said, I will never regret saying yes to him this night. And I said, Lord, I hope not.
Okay. I thought it was beautiful, lovely, romantic time for both of them. Captured wonderfully. I totally believed it. I believe that they both have feelings for one another. I believe that there is love between them. So what more can you ask for, really?
How about a timeline?
Okay, so yes, we do still want to know exactly how much time has elapsed between when he met her online, when he went there, and how long they've been together. But when he goes back to the UK, things are not so happy. And I was so sad for him. He tells his friend about he's gotten engaged. She's a little bit shocked. She seems not that pleased.
But he went to the Philippines. Apparently, she didn't know. And I wondered if this was a production plant, though her reaction seemed to be authentic.
Yeah, I didn't feel like it was a plant at all. I felt like it was real.
Well, no, but her response was, I didn't know you went to the Philippines. And oh my God, now you're engaged? How is this one of his best friends? And she doesn't know. How close is he with his best friends that this is a shocking revelation?
Well, I think he's probably been keeping a secret. We saw him reveal the secret that he was dating Arrah to one of his, I think it was his workmate or his friend at the beginning, and they're all being surprised. I'm not shocked that he would keep it a secret. It is so far away, such an unknown. Are you really going to meet this person? He didn't even know if she really existed, even though he'd talked to her on video chat, if she would show up. All of these questions would make it a situation where you don't want to necessarily tell everybody in case it does go terribly, terribly awry and you end up with egg on your face. So I can see him not telling everybody.
I don't know. Just it bothered. Like, I've never been in a situation where I have just not told my friends about people that I'm seeing. And my first love I met online. And we're talking way back in the day. I'm not aging myself, but I'm also aging myself at the same time.
Well, if there was online dating when you were dating this love of your life, then that's not so very long ago, because I was dating before there was any internet.
Well, I did as well.
Yeah.
However, it's just
Okay.
worked out. But anyway, I thought it was interesting that he said that they're going to get married in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Because it's illegal to get divorced.
Yes.
I thought that this was interesting.
I didn't think it was so much they're going to get married there because it's illegal for anybody to get divorced. It is illegal for a Filipino citizen to get divorced in the Philippines. So I think she can get married wherever. She could get married in the UK. But the fact is, if they lived in the Philippines, they would not be allowed to be divorced.
Thank you for clarifying. However, he can always move back to the UK and apply for a divorce. Yep. And I say this knowing that my brother-in-law's parents are divorced. And they're Filipino.
Interesting. Okay, so it is possible, but likely that you can't be in the Philippines in order to obtain the divorce. You have to be a resident, at least, of
Elsewhere.
somewhere else.
Yes. Yes.
I did not know that he was Catholic, so that was another new bit of information.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Well, because they're both Catholic. The Philippines is a predominantly Catholic country, and that is why, as he explained, as in Vatican City, there is no divorce permitted, only annulments. Next step for Andy is that the wedding date is set, and then he goes to tell his dad. Dad does not have a very happy, welcoming, joyous reaction to this news. Granted, the wedding is going to be in 2 months from now, so that is a very short amount of time for anybody to get ready, especially when Andy is asking both his mom and his dad to come to the Philippines to be present at the wedding. That's a huge ask. But from dad's expression, I would have said that the dad was not all that happy to hear that Andy was getting married to Arrah.
Well, not just that, and then when he told him the date, he was like, "Oh, let me check my schedule. Oh, I have an appointment at the hospital. I can't reschedule this appointment at the hospital. And your mom can't travel alone, even like, why can't she travel with Andy
Mhm.
to the Philippines so she wouldn't be traveling alone?" But I think that was him essentially saying that we don't accept this.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really sad, though I felt like that was an opportunity for Andy to realize how impulsive he's being about this, but he didn't see it that way. He just saw it as, I have no one here to support me. Well,
Mhm.
sir, if no one is there to support you, maybe you need to look at the decision that you've just made. Why is everyone taking this position? And also, why did Ara book the venue without okaying the date with him? Or did he just say, whenever you book it, without talking to the people who actually matter to see whether or not they can or would attend? Is it because they can't make it for the date or because they won't be there?
I have a feeling that there are so many missing pieces to this storyline because if we did have the pieces, we would be either so shocked or bored that we wouldn't want to watch. Do you know what I mean? Either these guys have really not been dating for long at all, and it's a completely absurd storyline of them getting together and getting married in such a short space of time, or it's just like, it's not really enough of a story. So let's leave all these details out and try to make it seem as if it's shocking that they've been together for a very short period of time or that his parents aren't going to attend the wedding. I just feel like there's a lot of information missing. We're getting half a picture.
And I feel like when 90 Day first started, they used to have the two names together for so and so amount of time. And the fact that we are still unsure between the two of us, at least. And I mean, I've tried to look it up and I can't find it. How short of time has it been? Is this
Yeah.
part of their storyline? Because they both said, it's only been a short amount of time, but how much is a short amount of time? Because that's subjective.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know.
I have no other notes for them because their segments were incredibly brief. Let's move on to Zena and Ibrahim. Zena has been scolded by Ibrahim. She's ready to clap. This is about the dancing where he pulled her away, told her her boobs were hanging out of her shirt, shouldn't be drinking, etc., etc. And so she gets upset and she wants to fight back.
She seems a lot more sober when they have this conversation than when she was pulled away from the beach.
Yes. So this is the perfect time for Xena to bring up the fact that not only does she know that he has a social media presence on Facebook, but that she has in fact gone through his friends list and there are all of these scantily clad women in the friends list. So she confronts him with that. And what do you know? He breaks down, tells her the truth, and the story is over because he's got 3 wives and 5 children already. Okay,
Oh my
no.
God, I thought you're being serious. It was like we're watching the same show. I think the argument was so ridiculous. The
Mhm.
smug look on his face was so irritating. She was like bowing down to him without physically doing so.
He says it's the first time he's ever seen these women.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
We believe that. And Xena plays so dumb. Like, she just goes along with whatever he says, no matter how stupid and outrageous it is.
Okay. Let me say, I don't appreciate the fact that she was so derogatory towards the other women that were on his Facebook. Though that's your profile picture, questionable. I didn't like it that she kept calling them whores and prostitutes and whatever. I thought that was just classless.
But what if they were prostitutes? There are prostitutes. There's nothing wrong with being a prostitute if
I
that's
am
the only option you have or you want to.
It's not what you know what I'm saying. Anyway,
Yeah.
and then when he shows up, he makes this grand gesture, which we've seen before that has gone over so well. He picked wildflowers
Oh
along
my
the way.
God.
Hello, Rob.
Okay,
Hello.
back up the second though, because when they're in this fight and she's saying, "Who are these women?" He says, "Oh, I have no clue. I've never seen them before." He's also threatening to leave her if she doesn't wear more modest clothing and stop drinking.
Oh,
So
and then
even though
compromising.
she's supposedly in the position of power because she's bringing up these facts to him that she's discovered and he should be defending himself, he not only says, "I don't know. Who are those women? I don't know who they are." You need to change your behavior. You need to change how you live your life because I don't accept it and I will leave if you don't. Red freaking flag, Zena. Run,
Sir, shut the F up.
please.
And
Oh,
also, remember how much I loved Zena at the beginning? And now to see her just bow down to his every whim is so disappointing. Oh my God, he was so honest with me. He doesn't know any of these women. No one who is watching this sees what you see. They see
So,
you as an easy target. You're going to
yes.
continue to give him money. He's going to continue to play you with that smug friggin' face. Drives me nuts.
Yes. The
Ugh.
one thing that I was pleased to see Xena do was that after this confrontation, she says, "Okay, you need to leave. We need to have some time alone now. So you go off and do your thing." I'm glad she does that. I'm glad she takes the time to allow them to separate and to think about things on their own. However, she has just displayed all of her cards to him. Now he has all of the information that she brought to the table in order to try to trip him up, to figure out what was really going on. And now he has the time that he needs to compile his stupid little arguments to refute her claims about what he may or may not be doing in the background that is wrong.
Yeah.
So, in other words, he's got time to build a story to make his lie even stronger.
Yeah. She gave him too much power at that point.
And on top of that, this time alone for Xena always has the same effect. The time she spends apart from Ibrahim makes her miss him more, makes her realize how lonely she is, so that she's willing to accept and forgive and just lay down on the road so he can walk all over her once more.
And then she calls her granddaughter Tilly, sweet, emotionally intelligent Tilly. She keeps calling him out, saying, "Do you really think that he's doing this for these reasons? Blah, blah, blah." And then Xena keeps making excuses. Well, it's just his religion. It's just his culture. I call bullshit. The guy is just a piece of shit. And then Tilly says she needs to set boundaries, even though the boundaries are not part of his culture. Compromises are not part of his culture. He's, used to being dominant and calling all of the shots. So, what is Xena actually going to be able to accomplish by trying to set these boundaries with him? And then we had that individual interview with Ibrahim, and I think they asked him, "Do you really love her?" He's like, "Yeah, I really love her." And then his eyes darted away from the camera. And we all know that indicates that you're lying. If you can't hold eye contact when you're saying something, that means that you're lying. I think he's absolutely full of shit. And I think that she's falling into everything that he's playing. And he must have a masterful thing between his legs, because that's the only thing that I can think that would encapsulate her so much. Either that and or the loneliness, because they're both as impactful.
Yeah. Well, it really is the loneliness from my perspective, because she says a couple of things that were so, so tragically sad. She
Sad.
said that she thinks that this is her last chance for love with Ibrahim, which I believe to be the real reason why she continues to make apologies for him and gloss over all of his lies, sweep everything under the carpet. And then she also says Ibrahim is her true love. What? This guy is your true love, who tells you to stop drinking, to stop doing the things you like dancing.
And
Who
they've been
tries
together for 2 years. How many times has she been there to visit him? And how many times has he tried to correct her, I'm using air quotations.
Yeah.
Like, what in the actual F is this?
It's so, so sad. I was very frustrated watching this because we're seeing this pattern so deeply ingrained in Xena where she deludes herself, she pulls the wool over her own eyes. And Ibrahim basically doesn't have to do it. She will do it for him.
He just has to sit there with that stupid friggin' smug look on his face.
And then we see the same pattern. So she sends him away. She misses him. She forgives him. She takes him back. She forgets all about the past stuff. No more red flags there. They're all green. Sure, Xena, whatever. And then she goes ahead and starts trying to buy him back. So they go shopping. And I thought, wow, okay, is Ibrahim actually going to buy her a little something? I know he doesn't have a lot of money, but maybe he could buy her a little trinket of some kind, a little
Nope.
thing. Nope.
No, this is
Nope.
Rob and Sophie, but in completely different cultures.
It's sick.
And the opposite age thing. But she's all,
Mhm.
he knows I love shopping, so he takes her shopping. Where I just thought it was so gross. You know, her buying random trinkets that she doesn't need. And,
Yeah.
oh, this is cute. Oh, this is cute. And then when she does that dance thing,
He was laughing at her. He was laughing openly
everyone
at
was
her.
laughing at her. And she took it as everyone thought that we were having a good time.
Yep. She thinks that he enjoyed her dancing. He was getting a thrill out of watching his woman dance for a change. And this was wonderful. She thought it was fantastic. She was happy that he was watching her. And yet he was so clearly making fun of her.
They
As
were
we
all relishing in the fact that he was using her. This is
Yeah.
another victim. He's gonna get his money. He's gonna get what he wants. Let's all just placate her. It was sad. I feel
It was
so bad for her, and
Yeah.
you know how much I loved her at the very beginning, and now it's just wow. I was so wrong.
How different a picture we have now of Xena and of Ibrahim, what their relationship is like. The tragedy of this particular episode doesn't end there, though. It doesn't end with the drum dancing because afterwards she wants to set boundaries with him, but she does not understand the concept because she allows him to make up all the rules. She's not allowed to get drunk anymore. She's not allowed to make a fool of herself anymore, whatever that means. So she has to reduce her alcohol consumption. And he's the one who's making the rules, Xena. It's not you. That is not a compromise. That is not
No,
you setting a boundary.
they're all her. All of his quote unquote compromises are her compromising for him. At what point
Exactly.
is he compromising? Oh, she can wear these things, but only in private.
Not only that, but she can only dance for him in private while wearing these things. And she's the one who's setting this up because she is trying to make it as exciting and as entertaining a moment, I guess you might want to say, for herself as possible, too. So, okay, you want me to dance? Okay, I'll dance for you. Would you like me to wear lingerie? Yeah. Okay, great. So maybe it'll be this sexy little thing where I'm dancing for you wearing something really lacy or whatever. And she keeps asking him for confirmation, for approval of her being sexy, of her being attractive to him.
It's the
Absolutely,
opposite of a mating dance.
it's absolutely pitiful to watch her abase herself like this for this man who is doing nothing but lie to her. And she is
And
trying
take her
so,
money.
so hard to twist herself into knots to be the kind of woman that he would like. There's nothing she can do. He is a butthead. He is a jerk. He is likely married to somebody else in this moment, likely has children with other women, and is definitely using her for her money at best. Ugh.
And that smug look on his face.
You've mentioned that once or twice.
Ugh.
Yes.
Can we please move on? Oh
Yes.
god,
So
maybe
now,
not.
yeah, I was just going to say, I don't think you're going to be too happy about who's
Mm.
next. It's Sam and Allie. So they're reuniting after they're 5 months apart in Turkey. Sam is coming to visit Allie. He does not bring flowers for her.
He forgot.
And I wrote down, why would she be mad about that? What's the big deal if he brings you flowers or not? But wow, I guess some people really need flowers when they get greeted at an airport.
Maybe it's because that's the most minimal amount of effort that he ever puts into the relationship is when she arrives and he brings flowers.
Right from the start, things do not go well between them. I
Ugh,
think they're going to be the confrontation couple of this season.
I think that this is the most BS couple of the season. We didn't need to see them before, and we don't need to see them again. And I hate the fact that they are on my screen.
Right away, we see them get into the van after he's picked her up, flowerless. And she's anxious. She wants to start getting ready to make plans, to start thinking about apartments and how things are going to be, what the living situation is going to be like. And he just wants to go to sleep. Okay, so this is step one of the master evil plan.
He
Great.
also tells her to relax.
He's
And he
perfect,
says,
perfect husband.
I will show you, but you're not going to like it.
Mhm.
For being so young and so stupid, he is legit playing right into her. Like he knows her so well that he can play her cards for her. Is that the term? I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, he knows how she works. He knows what to do. He knows what to say to get her to be complacent with his plan. And his quote unquote evil plan is for him to move to the UK and for him to foul any kind of idea that she wants to live in Turkey. And this was so friggin' painful to watch.
Well, before we get to the market day fiasco, which was somewhat entertaining, there was
Mhm.
the moment when they were with the family. Now, she's tried to learn a little bit of Turkish so that she can communicate with them. It's not a whole
Yep.
lot, so she quickly gets lost. That's
Yep.
understandable. But I was thinking, okay, well, why isn't he translating anything for her? He just sits back and it's silence,
Hmm.
crickets, because
Hmm.
nobody can speak to the other person. They can't communicate with her. She can't communicate with them. Where's your app? Where's your phone? Can you not get something so that you can have a few sentences of what you'd like to do while you're there
And
or
also, why
something?
is your partner, your husband, because now they're married, why isn't he translating for you? Why isn't he helping? Oh no, because he wants to make her feel so much more uncomfortable to make life in Turkey that much more inhabitable.
Uninhabitable.
Is that what did I say?
Inhabitable. The idea is to make it uninhabitable so that she doesn't want to stay there.
Thank you for that clarification
He's
and the correction.
definitely achieving his goal. I have to give him props for the efficacy of his master plan, evil plan. It's working well,
And he says that evil plans always work. Okay, great.
especially when they go to the market. Things progress very, very well for Allie. For
Well,
Allie,
he planned it out so well. He even said in the last episode that they were in that he was only going to take her to the shitty markets. I mean, he for this specific one, he takes her to the market that's like all the chilies and the fresh fish and like the off meat cuts or whatever. And then he makes her try chilies, makes fun of her when it's too hot.
this was enjoyable, you have to admit. Did you not laugh when she tried the chilies?
I couldn't.
Oh,
I was so sidetracked by I don't think that's the right word, but his bullshit, his face, his maybe it was also his smugness, being like, yeah, you hate that, don't you? Like he was getting off on this shit. Like, yeah, you hate this so much. You want to go back to the UK, don't you? She's like, oh yeah, I want to go home. I want to go home. He's like, Hales, yeah, you do. Let me show you more. And then it's like,
mhm.
let me show you the fresh fish gills. Yeah, you like that. Yeah, let me grab one. I'm like he was getting off on this whole thing. And it was almost like we were being introduced to a new kink unwillingly. And I didn't like it.
Okay. Well, I got a little bit of joy out of it because I
Mm.
saw how Sam was suffering through these experiences, whether or not it was made up for the camera. I
Don't
don't
get me
know.
wrong, I like to see her suffering, but I didn't like to see his joy.
Okay. But when she's squirming at the goat head and of course of the fish and then having her tongue burned by the hot chilies and then explaining that the only seasoning that she ever uses are salt and pepper. I'm just like, okay, so maybe she does leave a bit of a sheltered life, but I mean, who doesn't know where food comes from? Who doesn't know that the reality is there are heads and feet attached to these animals that you eat?
Okay, 2 things. 1, has she ever had freshly ground pepper? Because that is far superior to the powdered shit that you get. And 2, how much is she like Nicole?
Which Nicole? Mahmoud and Nicole?
No, the 55% Nicole. The larger woman who had the beautiful child who went to the Middle East, and they went to go on the camel ride and almost there lazy. That one. God, they were so enjoyable, but also awful at the same time.
And she only ever ate French fries or something?
Yeah, that one.
I guess. Okay.
Anyway,
Just Sam seems naive, very naive. Ali's taking advantage of that and of her. I think he'll succeed.
I think so as well.
Mhm.
I think that his quote unquote evil plan that he says, evil genius plans always work. What? But I think that he might actually be successful, and I wonder why.
Yeah. I have no answer.
I don't
Shall we
know,
read
and I
on?
don't care. I don't
Let's
like
read
him at
on.
all.
Finn and Sandra are up next. Hurrah. He's been back in the UK for 4 months when we first see him, and Sandra is coming over there. Yeah.
My lord, I feel like this is a production plant. Not her coming over, but him trying to convince her to come over. You think she's gonna bring her 2 kids, who apparently still have an active father that we find out, and she's gonna leave her 8 or 9 siblings?
Yeah, exactly. I wrote, "Dream on,
Because
Finn."
you have a cat.
There is no way in hell that this would ever work, and yes, tend to think that production is just encouraging him to follow this storyline because what sane person would think that it's at all reasonable for her to bring her children out of the environment, not just the fact that their dad is still in Brazil, but her whole family, so all of their nieces and nephews and aunts and uncles and everybody that they've known throughout their
Her
entire lives.
siblings that she grew up with, in an orphanage with. Come
Yeah,
on.
hers, but the kids, I'm talking about the kids.
No, I
That she would take the kids away from that environment of safety and comfort that they've known throughout their entire lives and the school and everything so that they could go live in England. No, that is not gonna happen. The weather, hello, for one thing, yucky in the UK most of the time, not all the time. So, yeah, Finn does not really believe this, that he can do this, does
no.
he? No.
No, I think this is definitely a plant. There's no way that this is gonna be a thing, especially because in the last couple episodes or, like, especially right before he left, he was like, "This is gonna be a make it or break it as to whether or not I move there."
Mhm.
And now all of a sudden, "Oh, no, maybe she's gonna move here." No, she's not gonna move there. Her entire family, which is a lot bigger than yours, that she has a massive connection with, she's not gonna leave it for you.
And this is where the other interesting little tidbit comes up for us, which is that we find out Sandra's sister, Heloisa, has been trying to reintegrate Sandra's ex into the family by inviting him to this barbecue thing that they have with all the siblings.
Then we find out that he's the baby daddy. They skirt around that for so long.
Did they? I thought we
Yeah.
already knew that. Okay.
No.
I just automatically assumed that the ex-husband was the
Well,
children's
no,
father.
they kept saying the ex. They didn't say the ex-husband.
Okay.
The ex, but it was like the timeline. Anyway, I mean, maybe it was a lot more obvious for you, but it wasn't for me. It took me a while to figure that out.
So I thought it was very devious of Heloisa to plant this little wrench in the works, if you like. Why is she doing it? Does she actually believe that Sandra and the ex can reconcile? Is there enough love between them for that to happen? Who knows? But the fact that Heloisa, and we have seen this, has quite a bit of influence over Sandra, and they have a really, really close relationship where their opinions really matter to one another. I thought perhaps Heloisa is going to use this experience of having the ex come to the family barbecue in order to compare and contrast his behavior and how things go at the barbecue with Finn. And then to have that discussion with Sandra, which would lay it all on the table for her quite clearly that Heloisa wants to manipulate Sandra or convince Sandra that Finn is wrong, the ex may be the right choice, or at least somebody who is Brazilian, who knows the culture and can integrate into a big, loud, boisterous family.
So, what I found interesting is before we got into that, He said that there's not 3 people in this relationship, meaning him, Sandra, and Heloisa. It's him and Sandra, and maybe his cat, but he doesn't say anything about the kids. And then Heloisa clearly wants her to get back with the baby daddy, but I wonder it's because the baby daddy actually gives a shit about the kids. Whereas it seems like not even a second thought for Finn. For him to say it's the 2 of us in this relationship, not 3. Well, no, it's the 4 5 of you. It's
if you're
you.
including the cat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Of course the cat's involved. Don't be ridiculous. You
I
know this.
I know this.
I know you know this, but, like, for her sister to pull this shit is so skeevy, but also for Sandra's response to be like, "I don't care. What does it matter?" I thought was really telling. But as we've seen previously, she continuously dismisses his feelings, dismisses his perspective, and I don't think that she is taking Finn's position seriously.
Absolutely not, because he opens up yet again about his fears over the family not welcoming him, about Heloisa trying to manipulate Sandra to break up with him, definitely not move to England. But when he brings this up to Sandra, she immediately shuts him down, just like she did before. And she will not allow him to talk, especially when it comes to matters that concern her sister and her family.
Mhm.
She's protective of her family to the extent where she will dismiss, ignore, and shut down anything from Finn that he tries to express to her about how he feels about those situations or people. She will always, always, I think, find a way to protect her family before she protects Finn. And I think this is a crucial problem in their relationship. Her history with her siblings, because of their upbringing, is so, so strong that nothing else will be able to infiltrate that and be as equally strong. So in other words, until she ends up letting go of her family a little bit, not leaving them or ignoring them or stop loving them, but to stop being so dependent on them and relying on their opinions so, so much, she won't be able to have a relationship with another person outside of her family, like Finn, that will be able to maintain itself.
Unless they find someone who can integrate with the family in the way that Finn is not capable of doing.
Yeah, maybe, but I still feel like fundamentally there's an imbalance in the person who Sandra ends up with will always feel like an outsider because of how close she is and how she listens to her family members, her sisters especially, so, so much because of the way we've seen her dismiss Finn in him bringing up stuff to her about her family, about how he feels. I really don't feel like she's able to allow somebody else's feelings to matter to her as much as her family's feelings matter to her.
But I also wonder, in the same vein, what it's like for her sibling spouses. How have they been able to integrate?
Yeah.
What has their experience been like? Do they also feel like outsiders? Is this a family integration thing? Is this a family codependency? I don't know. There's so much involved here. We don't have enough information. I think again, her moving to the UK, 100% a production plant. That was never a thing from the very beginning. That was an afterthought. What is going on here? I don't think that this couple is going to survive. I think that her family is going to get in the way. She's going to allow them to get in the way. And I don't think that she respects him or their relationship enough to stand up to it.
I think she's going to pressure him to make him move to Brazil. And if he doesn't bend to that pressure, then their relationship is done.
I think the relationship is done.
You think it's done already? They don't need to try to get him to move to Brazil?
Oh,
It's
no,
finished?
they're going to try. But I think that he's going to have enough reservations with, being a stepdad and his cat and his mom. I think that's going to be enough
Mhm.
for him to say no. Or he's going to make the attempt, as we've seen previously in UK. He's going to make the attempt, he's going to go, and then he's going to regret it, and then he's going to move home.
I think he's come quite a long way in his attitude towards being a stepfather. And I think
And
that
it's been so lovely to see.
he can continue to grow in that vein and will continue to grow in that vein if he spends more time with them. But let's talk for a minute about some of the things that he did with Sandra and for Sandra when she came to England, because it was just hilarious how we see Finn's approach to romance. He gives her the gift of sand when she first arrives at the airport.
And she says this is a totally Finn thing to do. But his idea of combining the two sands, I had a girlfriend who actually did that as part of her wedding ceremony.
Okay, so it works for some people. In this case, I felt very strongly that it was a complete miss. But he recovered. He got a hit when he brought the champagne to the car and they had drinks on the way from the airport back to his house. Definitely gets a point for that. Trying to make an English breakfast for her, even though he's a vegetarian.
I didn't know he was a vegetarian, so the fact that he even tried to make her actual sausages for the English breakfast, I thought was a nice gesture. Though, dude, turn down your pan. Or the whatever.
The burning of the
Thank you.
sausages was quite classic, given how he does not cook meat, so he doesn't necessarily have that experience, but a wonderful thought, and the thoughts do count.
He tried.
And then finally, the surprise gesture gift to her of taking her to Cambridge to go punting. Such a romantic idea.
I had to tell you, I didn't know what punting was before this. So when
Okay.
he said that they were going to go punting,
Yeah.
the mental pictures that I had were absolutely hysterical. Had absolutely nothing to do with water. Leave it at that. But then to see the absolute failure going through the weeds and going through the willow trees, just getting slapped in the face was just quite triggering for me. But can you just dock and then walk back? Like, I can't imagine that they've gone very far.
I just wanted to bring it up because I think it's lovely. Finn is one of those people who has the best of intentions, but
Yes.
then when it comes to execution, things fall remarkably to pieces in the most hilarious way possible. And I just appreciate it so much because not only does he have this memory of being an excellent punter when he was at uni, but now, of course, he's 20, 30 years, 20 years older, maybe. And so he's lost the skill. Then, as you said, all the mishaps that happen. But then also, it's horrible weather. It's cold. It's damp. It's cloudy. It's not the best day to be doing this activity, but he still
It's
tries.
England. It's England. Like,
He's he's still like out there trying to build this romantic moment, trying to make something that she's going to have as a memory forever. For all the wrong reasons, she will remember it forever. So,
I agree. I thought that the effort was it was primo. Like, good for
yeah.
him for trying. Though it probably would have been best had he grabbed like a buddy and been like, "Hey, can we try this first?"
And I mean, that's Finn, right? He doesn't practice first. He just wings it. It's just like,
I was
I used to do this really well, so therefore
yeah.
I can still do this really well.
Uh, okay, great. It's like driving a standard vehicle for so long and then not driving one for 30 years and then driving one for 30 minutes and blowing the clutch.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah. So, although I was sad in this episode to see that Finn is probably going to be forced into a situation of no choice, i.e., he must move to Brazil, I did think that the comedic relief within this segment was fantastic and made the rest of the show bearable, especially those segments that we were discussing with Sam and Allie and others.
I thought it was so cringy. Was so disappointed with this episode. Though the fact that Match Me was so good, I was, nah, doesn't matter. At least I had something to be excited about.
Yeah. Yeah. So, no further comments tonight?
Disappointed, production do better.
Okay, you've been told. Before we go, if you're enjoying the 90 Day Fiancé Honestly podcast, please subscribe to or give our show a follow. And if you have an additional moment, please rate us and help other 90 Day fans to find our show. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, everyone.
See you next week.